Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Naomi, and today I want to share one of my all-time favorite shoulder mobility exercises. So grab yourself a strap or a belt or a jump rope or a sarong. Grab something that you can pull apart between your hands up overhead and maybe fix your hair, because if your hair's up like mine is, it's not going to work. So I'm going to take this down, put it in a braid, and see you on the other side. Let's get started with our shoulder mobility exercise. Now for this exercise, you're gonna want something that you can hold in between your hands overhead that you can stretch nice and wide, okay, because you want a lot of space. So what I typically use is a yoga strap, yoga belt. Usually it has like a D-ring at the end, it's making a lot of noise, and you want it to have some good give. Now if you don't have a yoga belt, you could use a jump rope, you could use a tie if you have one that is long enough, or a belt that you wear for your pants. Anything that you can pull apart nice and wide that goes all the way forward, all the way down to your hips, and all the way up overhead and behind you. So you might need to test that length a little bit. You don't have to start it just yet. I'm going to show you one more thing that you can use if you don't have something that looks more like a belt or a strap, okay? So another thing that you could use to see this really pretty sarong, I use this when I sit in meditation. It's a really light material, but it's also nice and long. And this, similarly, I can take nice and wide between my hands. It goes all the way forward, all the way down to the front of my pelvis, all the way up overhead and behind me, okay, without a lot of work. Okay, so all the way forward, all the way behind. Okay, so whether you have a belt or a strap or a sarong, make sure that you have something that you can take nice and wide between your hands. Now, I'm going to give you one more option for the very end of this class. Okay, if you have a jump stretch band, meaning something that has some good tension, okay, something that you can stretch out that also goes nice and wide, I'm going to give you the option to use this in the same exercise at the very end if you have it. If you don't, no worries. You can just go back to the belt or the strap or the sarong and do that a second time through. But using a jump stretch band, if you have it, is a way to add a little bit of tension to the mobility work so that you can actually increase your capacity, because you're adding a little bit of load, a really small amount, and that's really good for your shoulder joints. So if you happen to have that, cool. If you don't, no worries. No matter what you happen to have right now, let's get started. So grab at your strap, your belt, your sarong, whatever you got. Step your feet a little bit wider apart than your hips because you want a nice solid base. Take your belt wide apart overhead. Okay, and you just want to test the distance here first between your hands. So you want it to go all the way down to your pelvis, but you also want it to go all the way up and over, all the way to your butt. Okay, so you want to get that full range of motion. Okay, so you can go ahead and just play with that distance first. So if you're going up and over and it feels kind of tight, like you're like, you gotta like wiggle it around a little bit, then take your hands wider apart on the belt. You don't want this to be challenging, at least not when you start. You want it to feel fairly easy. So you can have your arms as wide apart as you need. Okay, now another thing that's helpful is you want to really pull that belt taut in between your hands. It's not like hanging loose, right? Like you're jump roping. Okay, that's not going to do much for your shoulder joints. You can keep going. I'm just showing you what you want to do and what you want to avoid. Okay, you want it to be nice and tight, so you're pulling your hands apart. Okay, that's going to give you a little bit of tension, which is a very good thing. Okay, now another thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure that you're not flaring your ribs as the belt goes behind you. Okay, so you want to keep your ribs going back so you can really isolate the action of your shoulders, because that's what we're here for. Okay, and you can also play with walking your hands in closer if you're noticing that your hands feel kind of wide and your shoulders feel a little bit warmer, a little bit more open. So you could try moving your hands in a little closer. Woo, that's a little tight, but I can still manage it without pain. But if it feels like too much, I can walk my hands a little bit wider. Oh, that feels like a better length, for sure. Okay? And then the next time you find the belt all the way up overhead, keep it there. Okay, and lengthen over to the left. So your left hand is going to go down, right arm goes up. You're still pulling the two ends of the belt apart. And again, you don't want to flare your ribs forward and your butt back. You're trying to keep it pretty even. Then lift up and go to the right. Keep pulling the belt apart in between your hands. Your right arm is going to go down a little. Your left arm is going to go up. Then go up and over to the left again. Left arm goes down. You can look down towards your left foot if that feels better than looking up. And then come on up and over to the right. Keep pulling the belt apart. And then up and over to the left, we're going to change it up slightly. Whoops, I just lost my grip. Take your right arm forward. Bend your knees as you do. Swing the belt in front of you. Right arm now goes down. Left arm goes up as you push your legs straight. And then go down to the right. Swing your left arm forward, right arm in front of you. Knees stay bent so you can take your hips back. Right arm goes up as you come back up. And then again, down to the left. Reach your right arm forward. Look forward. Right arm goes down, left arm goes up and behind you, and then right arm down. Left arm swings forward. Right arm goes up. Whew. And then put the belt down. Just throw it over to the side. Give your shoulders a little bit of a roll. And notice how they feel. Just, whew. Notice how they feel. Whew. It's a fly in my house. And it's really interested in doing shoulder mobility with me. So if you see me squatting, that's what that is. So shoulders get a roll. Okay, now that might be enough for you. And if that is, you can skip ahead to the end of the video. But if you have a jump stretch band, or if you want to do that shoulder exercise all over again, just the forward and back, go ahead and grab your belt or your sarong. If you have a jump stretch band, you can grab it and you take it as wide as you can in between your hands. Okay, because you want space with this. Okay, so I'm pulling my hands really wide apart here, wider than I did with my belt. And the reason for that is that taking this up and over, because it has resistance, is harder. Okay, again, my legs are a little wider apart than my hips. I'm pulling this apart and I go forward and back. There's going to be a little bit more movement. Like when I get up overhead, it kind of bounces a little because I don't have to pull quite as wide apart. Versus when it goes behind me, I'm really working to pull it apart. So you just want to keep that action of pulling apart as you go up and back and up and forward. And the cool thing about using the jump stretch band, again, is that it adds a little bit of tension. So there's a heaviness to it. You can put it down, okay, but there's a heaviness to it. Roll your shoulders. And that heaviness, that just small weight, gives a little bit more load to your shoulder joint so that you are increasing your capacity within mobility. And that is a really powerful thing. That's actually something that you really want. But it's important to start with the non-weighted strap or sarong or whatever you have so that you can get the movement first and feel good there before you add weight. That is always a really important thing to do. Okay? And that's it for today. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me for one of my all-time favorite shoulder mobility exercises. How are your shoulders feeling? I hope that they are feeling just some sweet relief and that you are feeling greater ease when you move your shoulders up and back and even forward and down. Okay, that is what we were after with that belted shoulder exercise. And if you really enjoyed that exercise, that's not the only one that I have in my shoulder movement toolkit. I have lots of them, mostly because I love shoulder work. And that has a lot to do with the fact that what I've learned over the years is that when I'm stressed out, I carry a lot of my stress in my neck and my shoulders. So it's really important for me to have simple things that I can do to create relief and ease when I need it the most. Now, if you want more of those tools for shoulder mobility and shoulder relief, I would love for you to join me in my program, Movement for Healthy Shoulders. This is a 6-week program that combines strength training, shoulder mobility, and some really sweet just relief and release practices so that are a little bit more like self-massage and restorative, but that you can use to give your body an overall feeling of sweetness in your shoulders in particular. Now, if you want to get more information about that program, please check the link in the description below, which will give you all of the information that you need. Now, whether or not you join me in Movement for Healthy Shoulders or whether you just keep hanging out with me here on YouTube, I am so grateful that you stopped by. Thank you so much for being a part of my online community, and I look forward to seeing you on the mat again really soon. Until then, bye everyone.